like the idea of having a party as a way to raise awareness? Because sometimes activists can get too serious and lose their sense of humor.
I don't know. It's a really good way to raise awareness. It's so much work because you don't know if people are going to come and you don't really know if you're doing any good, which is kind of a freaky thing. I didn't know if people would come, and for months that's all I worried about.
Yeah.
So
it looks like you had people show up and you raised some money.
I did. I raised a little money. I raised a lot of awareness. There was a lot of talk and stuff. So it worked out, but it was pretty freaky. I'm excited to just work with Corsi in the Salvation Army in the future and other groups. This was my own idea and my own invention. And so...
You study this issue a lot, so what if you can crystallize that for us maybe in a couple minutes, if you feel comfortable doing that.
Sure,
what's going on Columbus, in terms of Columbus and more broadly speaking?
In Columbus?
Yeah, with trafficking or...
Yeah. In Columbus, we have a lot of good things and a lot of bad things happening with trafficking. We have huge problems in that we have a lot of forced prostitution here coming down from Toledo, from the big network that happens in Toledo. And we have a lot of runaways here in Columbus that come here as a big city, so they become survivors and victims of forced prostitution. And we also have problems with labor slavery here.
In Columbus?
Yes.
Sweatshop?
No, not sweatshops. More like people who are forced to work as debt slaves. They're coming up from Mexico.
Den slave. Debt slave, okay.
Debt slave.
Okay.
That's such a mouthful, it's hard to remember.
Where are they working at?
They can be working anywhere. They can be working in a restaurant or a hospital or a labor construction type job.
Wait, I'm confused here. So how does that
That's a crazy
pass the
thing.
test in terms of a hospital or other organization?
Because what happens is that they are... Okay, let's say you're coming from Mexico.
Okay.
And someone tells you right at the border, I'll get you across the border, and you trust me, you give me your ID, you're going to give me $5,000. But you're going to make that back.
The coyotes, right?
Coyote.
Yeah.
And so they come in here, you understand it, they come in here and they think that they've got a job. And all of a sudden their ID is taken away from them. They don't speak the language. They're not here legally. So they're told by the coyote, you make this money and then I'll set you free. But of course there are no books. There is no bookkeeping. So the coyote just keeps taking the money, driving them to the work site, picking them up from the work site. Like these cops said they saw the craziest thing happening over and over. They kept seeing these vans full of people driving north and then empty driving south. And it took them years to figure out, oh, that's freaking human trafficking.
How can we change the laws?
And how can we change the laws?
Yeah, they really
So what can people do to get involved? I mean, people showed up here, spent some money, and that
That's great.
creates money. But beyond that, what do people can do if? Because no one's going to relate to every issue, whether it's environmentalism or human rights. But if someone does really connect with this particular cause, what do you suggest they do?
They should join the abolition groups working here in Columbus. We've got Corsi, the Central Ohio Rescue and Restore Coalition that's a part of the Salvation Army. And we've got Not for Sale.
Not for sale.
Not for Sale, which is a national group. Corsi is a part of the Salvation Army, and it's a bigger umbrella group that works with every social services, public awareness, legal representation that they can. They're helping put the new law together for Columbus that will make human trafficking illegal in Ohio. They're doing all kinds of work, all kinds of very frontline work as far as having a phone number that people who are trafficked can call and immediately get medical, legal, counseling, education, housing, shelter, like clothing kind of situations set up for them. So Corsi's really good. Volunteering with Grace Haven is really good. That's going to be a rescue and rehabilitation operation for survivors aged 12 to 17. That'll be opening up next year, so they need all kinds of help.
Do things get complicated when in terms of dealing with the Mexican immigrants, in terms of them being working slave labor, like according to the arrangements you just mentioned, because they're afraid of being turned into the authorities because of immigration?
Course.
And then you have, so they're caught between a rock and a hard place maybe. So what if anything, can you or anyone else who's interested do about that?
Well, there's these great things called T visas and U visas. So if you have been trafficked, interestingly enough, if you have been trafficked, I need to bring in the signboard, in this country, you can, you didn't leave, you liar. So if you've been trafficked,
Freedom Follies.
you can, you're eligible for a T visa and a U visa. And those give you like 3 and 4 years of being in the country and of having housing and all those things I mentioned before, all those things that people need. You get that with a T visa and a U visa, even if you're here illegally. That's the law. If you've been enslaved, you get that treat. So it's really important that we work with legal representation and get a lot of lawyers interested.
Oh, so you have bilingual lawyers and other activists that will explain this to the
Oh yeah, definitely.
Enslaved immigrants.
Definitely. That's something that we try to make very clear, that regardless of your legal status in this country, you'll be safe. I mean, I don't know that it's always true, but we've got to work towards that and keep those people working towards those visas and keep educating lawyers. That's one of the things that Corsi does, is educate lawyers about how to use the T visa and U visa.
It's called TV visa?
T visas?
T visa, excuse
or
me.
U visas.
U visas.
Uh-huh.
And that enables someone to be able to stay in this country for 3 years if it's confirmed that they have been here as enslaved labor.
Yeah, because they can't go home.
This is men, women,
Screwed up.
all ages.
Yep, absolutely.
Hey, thanks.
Thank you, Derek.
Is something else you wanted to add, or is that good?
Yeah, help me fight slavery. Help me fight slavery. We need help. Go to Corsi, go to Not For Sale, go to the Polaris Project, go to Free the Slaves, go to anybody and help us out.
Thank you.